Welcome to the Purpose Chasers podcast, where adversity meets ambition and setbacks become setups for something greater. I'm your host, Mark Crandall. After walking away from a $5.1 million construction sale, enduring loss, betrayal, a season of darkness, and a pile of financial devastation, I came back to the one thing I can't shake, helping people live on purpose. This podcast isn't about chasing dollars, it's about chasing calling. Every week, we shine light on creators, entrepreneurs, and artists who refuse to quit. People who kept moving forward when life told them to sit down. If you've ever been knocked down, counted out, or told no, you're in the right place. Because here, we turn pain into power and purpose into impact. Let's dive into this week's episode.
Welcome back, Purpose Chasers, to this episode of the Purpose Chasers podcast. I'm very excited as we have entered the new season of the Purpose Chasers podcast, in which you've been asking for more tips and tricks on how to successfully launch a side hustle and or step into the waters of entrepreneurship, which Allie and I were talking about before I hit record. It's kind of this blurred area now, is everyone wants to be an entrepreneur just because they filed an LLC or a DBA, but most people have no idea how to run a successful business, which ironically enough, we're finding right now, as most businesses did not have the capital put away to be able to survive at the time of this recording, 7.5 weeks of lockdown. So Allie Bloyd, I pronounced your last name right?
Yep,
did I?
correct.
Nailed it. I know
One of the first to ever do that.
She would have given me a resting bee face if I had not. I can tell.
No, I'm so used to it at this point.
So Allie is somebody, I've been following you, whether you know it or not. And I do a lot of, like, if I accept a friend request or I follow somebody, you post an annoying video, you're unfollowed. If I don't care what you're doing, I will unfollow you on Facebook. But you're actually somebody that I do follow, because the content that you drop is just, it's very authentic and it's useful. It's not even, and I know you're selling, right? Because you're a marketer, but your content is not, it never comes off salesy. And I know you specialize in marketing for brick and mortar companies, and something that I've experienced that we talked about a bunch, and kind of a rule that I've made, and I'm hoping that you can change my mind. And I feel like you can, or maybe you can't. We're going to find out. What I've found. Yeah. Oh, she's like, oh, I can't. One of the things that I've found out and kind of made a rule around, as we have a digital marketing company that specializes in right now solar and roofing. Mm-hmm. I've made the rule that I'm not going to convince you that digital marketing is the future. And so I've put so much energy in trying to convince clients that want to treat digital marketing like it's a slot machine, and they're just going to step up and Facebook ad, no whammy, like leads are just going to pump in and you don't have to optimize and you don't have to change copy or creative. And so I want to start this interview by pretending that I'm a brick and mortar company that believes that digital marketing is an expense. Can you explain to me how it's not an expense but an investment?
I can. So first off, thank you for having me. Really excited to be here. Congrats on your 3rd season. So I do work with local businesses. Some of them have a bricks and mortar location. I mean, most of them do. A lot of them are service-based as well. So, I mean, this is something I've dealt with for a really long time. From the time that I actually started in marketing, I was working in-house as a marketing director for several large local bricks and mortar companies. And I really got to understand their thought processes, the way they did things. I was really close with one of the owners and saw kind of behind the scenes of this multi-million-dollar business on a daily basis. So it definitely gave me some really good insights into what these business owners are thinking. However, he was a very smart business owner. I know that there are a lot of business owners out there that do not do what he does in terms of analyzing and really taking into account different pieces of information. The biggest thing that he did that I wish other people did, which would make my job a lot easier, is to actually know your numbers on a very granular level. I probably have only had a handful at most of business owners that I've ever spoken with when asked, what their numbers were in terms of customer lifetime value, what their conversion rates are, all of those things that they really need to know. Maybe only 3 people have ever actually been able to answer that for me. That has been shocking because that was instilled into me very, very early. Those are the things that you have to know if you want to be able to accurately guide your ship, essentially. So I've heard, marketing is too expensive. I just don't have the funds to market right now. Word of mouth is the only marketing that we'll ever need, or the only marketing that matters. Do good work and the business will come. Those are kind of the phrases that are thrown around fairly often. I mean, at this point, I tend to speak with a lot fewer people that don't really value digital marketing, just because I'm not going to take my time to speak with them, because they're not going to be booking calls to learn more about digital marketing for the most part. However, I am the president of my local BNI group. So I, see 35 to 40 local business owners every single week. And there are some of them that continue to not market outside of this word of mouth and networking system, which we can cover that a little bit more in detail in just a few minutes, but this is definitely something that I've had to work through for a long time. So the very first thing that I would tell somebody that says, marketing is just another expense, is the fact that good marketing will never be just an expense. However, bad marketing can really suck the money out of you. And I think that that's the difference, because if you look at one business, maybe 2 different businesses, same industry, same opportunity, one of them doesn't invest in marketing. Maybe they have a really good grassroots networking referral strategy. The other business, they invest in digital marketing, but they either do it the wrong way or they hire somebody that doesn't know what they're doing. So this company has not only missed out on opportunity that they would have had if they had gone about this the right way, they've also invested money going about this the wrong way. So in my mind, they're actually twice removed. They've lost the opportunity cost and they've lost the money on their marketing. This other business, they may have just missed some opportunity costs that they could have had. So the fact of the matter is that it can be an expense if it's done poorly. When done correctly, that's never going to be the case, because a good marketer or a good agency should only be focusing on ROI. I don't care about getting leads for my clients. All I care about is helping my clients achieve a return on investment, helping my students achieve a return on investment. That's what the name of the game is if you're serious about really helping a business grow. And so if you can look at everything from a return on investment standpoint, you're never going to be confused about the fact that this is designed to make you more money than you're putting in. If you don't have,
let me pause you real quick.
Yeah.
Because you just hit on something that is one of the biggest, it blows my mind. And I know that you talked about tracking numbers, and if you don't actually, and most businesses don't know the numbers, even though they think they do. But you just said something. So I'm thinking about this big pain point that I have in what we do. It's like, oh, you generated this many leads this month, and how do we turn that up? Okay, how many of them converted to sales, and what was the ROI on the marketing that you spent? And then let's take and do the math and find out if this marketing is scalable and if it's working. So I just wanted to share that frustration, because it's so, oh, I only got so many. Okay, you could get 5 leads. If you close 3 or 4 of them as clients, do you really need 100 and close 3 or 4 of them, right?
Exactly. And that's really what I think has to change, or in my mind, it's what marketers or agencies have to better educate their clients or potential clients on. Because in a perfect world, every client or potential client would know. They would just know these things. You assume this person is a business owner. Maybe they're already running a multi-million-dollar company. You would assume that there are certain things they've done very, very well. And obviously that's the case. There's something that's been done right. However, what I've really come to notice is that sadly, it can be fairly easy for certain industries to scale to tens of millions of dollars even, or at least several $1 million without a strong backbone, essentially, in terms of understanding the way they need to grow their business. So one group of people that I work with are in the remodeling industry. So kind of similar to, like, you know, roofing and solar, like you were talking about. Those jobs can be quite expensive depending on who you're working with, what types of projects. I've had clients where their average job is $100,000. Well, how many jobs do you need to make $1 million in revenue? 10. You need 10 jobs to make $1 million in revenue. So if you're looking at just the revenue of a business, sometimes it's deceiving. You think this person kind of has their shit together, but that's not really what it means. You don't even know what they're profiting. Some people don't want to tell you what their profit margins are, or maybe they'll tell you an average profit margin, but okay, did you actually hit that last year? Did you actually make money last year? That's really what I want to know. So early on in my agency, I definitely didn't ask some of those questions that I now really go into, simply to know what type of business owner I'm working with. Are you somebody who has the mindset and the potential to really grow with me, grow this business? Or are you somebody who is kind of lucked into a high-ish revenue business without really understanding how you got there or what you did right in order to get there? So what I think people should do is just educate always. And that's kind of my philosophy with my own marketing, but really with all of the marketing that we do with clients. Educate people to become better clients, or educate them to become better prospects. Because every business, especially if you're selling in, you know, a slightly high ticket industry, the time that you spend with somebody before they buy can be a decent amount of time. You know, they are really going to do their due diligence for the most part before they make that investment. And if you can show them why things are the way they are, if you can show them this is what you need to be focusing on, you know, these are the steps, this is what you can expect, they're going to be in a much better place than if you just said, all right, let's get started. I'll let you know how it goes. And that's a problem that I see with agency owners all the time. They're not educating, they're not setting proper expectations. Therefore, their clients do not fully understand these concepts. And, you know, you can't really blame them, because I do expect that business owners have a certain amount of marketing knowledge. But in all honesty, that's just not really the case, especially when it comes to digital. People can get degrees in marketing from college and still not understand digital marketing. So you really can't hold that against a business owner. You have to make it a part of your job to show them what needs to be done in order for success to be achieved. And so the first thing is just getting super clear on what those numbers are. If your business is a recurring revenue business, you have to realize that you don't have to make your money back on the first sale, especially if it's a monthly purchase. That's another really confusing thing to me, is business owners being super short-sighted in terms of what their ROI is. ROI doesn't have to be achieved on a weekly basis. You know, this is really something that should be done in about a 90-day cycle. Ultimately, depending on the length of your buying cycle, it could be even longer than that. So our clients usually get ROI really, really quickly, but at the same time, we had to design an offer around making that happen first. So when I go through my process, I tell everyone that I work with. So there's kind of like two ways that I do it. One group of people has to go through something called a business intensive before we start working together. That's really anyone that's not a remodeler, essentially. I know that industry like the back of my hand. I don't need to do any of the research in order to know what somebody needs to do. I can just look at the data that they're giving me and tell them a good path for them. But anybody else, I want to make sure that I have all the info that I need to put together a proper plan for them. But I also want to make sure that they are on the same page with me before we ever begin working together on a more regular basis. So through that process, I go through and do a budget breakdown of where the money should be spent. I do offer creation for them. So I show them, this is what you need to be focusing on if you want to grow. If recurring revenue is a big part of your business, you need to be focusing on getting people to not just come or shop or buy that first time. The focus has to be on getting them to shop and buy long term, as often as possible. So there's really two parts of that process. If you expect your new client or entry point offer to generate all your ROI, you're never going to succeed, because you may or may not be able to achieve that. Okay. That is why so many businesses stop marketing on digital platforms, because they just have this twisted understanding of what's supposed to happen. If I'm selling something that is $100 a month, I'm happy to spend $100 to get a new client. Okay. That's not a break-even point. That should be a highly profitable cost per leader, client acquisition cost, because they're going to be buying over and over. It's going to change depending on what type of business model you have, but really getting them to understand where their money needs to be made and at what point they can expect to see that return is probably one of the most important parts of that process, and helping them understand what that investment is really going to be. The other thing is just trying to really get them to look back on what they've done so far, how they've gotten there, and asking them if they believe they can get where they want to go doing the exact same thing. The truth of the matter is probably not. There are certain levels that you can get to organically. For some, it's a lot higher than others. It really just depends, again, on how expensive what you're selling is, how much time you're willing to invest. But organic can be great. I mean, I've seen so many businesses grow that way. That's how I started my business. But there does come a point where it's not going to take you to the next level. So you do have to ask yourself, if this is where I truly want to go, what am I willing to do in order to get there? If I'm not willing to invest money to get there, do I even deserve more money? I mean, that's really how I look at it. If you don't believe that your business is worth investing in and getting that out to the general public or whatever target audience you're looking at, you don't deserve to sell anymore, because you're not willing to really kind of put your money where your mouth is. If you believe in your product and service, you should feel an obligation to get that out to as many people that need it as humanly possible. So I think the biggest part of all of this is really reframing the conversation, asking the right questions to someone to get them to start thinking about things differently. And then, really the last part is, let me show you the return on investment we've gotten for other people. Because when people see real data, it changes things for them. Like we were talking about when we got started, there's so many people in the marketing industry that have popped up out of nowhere, which it's fine. There's always going to be new people coming in. I think it's great for people to get into this industry, to learn, to really do what it takes to become a great marketer. That's kind of the key there. You can't just say you're a digital marketer or say you're an agency without having any results to back it up. And if you don't have the results to back it up, of course your client is going to be skeptical. Maybe it's not that they're skeptical of marketing in general. Maybe it's that they're skeptical of your marketing. So
I want to pause you before we get into the digital marketing stuff, because you dropped some gold, and I want to just highlight it and a couple things. So one, we're doing some digital marketing for a roofing company, plus I'm acting CEO of it. So I'm doing some consulting with him, and he was a $2 million roofing company. And once I actually did the numbers and worked with an EA to actually dial the numbers in, we had to pause and say, "What? You're a $2 million roofing company, yet you didn't pay yourself last year." And then I get another buddy in Austin. He's got a $10 million roofing company, yet he's cash flow poor. Right. So it's like, and I think about it, and I love, the funnel hacker community, but the people that get the 2 comma plaques, and it's like, okay, and how much what was the ROI on that?
Yeah.
Like, did you spend $900,000 in advertising and make $100,000?
$999. You just don't know. That's, and that is the truth. And that's why revenue can be deceiving. So whenever I talk to people about my 2 Comma Club award, I do like to go into the numbers. What were the margins on that? How much did we spend? Luckily, we had an insane return on investment in terms of our marketing dollars, but obviously that's not pure profit. Anybody who believes that's profit by looking at it, I mean, they need to understand the glossary of terms a little bit better. But it's very difficult to look at a business without diving down into those subsequent categories and understand if they're doing a good job or not. Those examples that you mentioned are very common, sadly. One of the first clients that I had like that, I mean, I vowed to never do that again. Like, take someone's revenue as a determination of if they were a good fit to work with me. And obviously there's a lot of other things that I look at, but usually the numbers and all of that stuff I would do after I start working with somebody. I don't do that anymore. I like to understand that very clearly before, because the problem was that on paper, they were a multi-million-dollar company, but they had no cash flow. They were very bad at managing their business, in my personal opinion. They had no sales ability, and they also didn't make a profit the year before, which I didn't find out until afterwards.
How much of that do you think is ego, Allie? How much do you think of that is like, because I think about it, right? So I have a potential client possibly coming on with us, so focused on SEO. And I said, look, SEO is great, right? But we both know that we can turn a funnel on to blow SEO out of the water, right? And I said to him, I said, how much of your SEO and your ranking is based off your ego so that you can say that you're on the first page? How much of the dollars, so that I have a multi-million-dollar company, or I was a 2 comma or a 3 comma, right? Like, how much of that is ego versus individuals? And I want to preface this by stating, I believe that I'm lucky because after 4 years as an entrepreneur, a business owner, and I've been successful with high ROIs in my business because I was taught to track numbers early. But I feel like I'm lucky because those 4 years have been a grind, right? Like me in my business. And now at 4 years, I'm really focused on what you're talking about, which can be done with marketing, right? Like what you're explaining, of actually creating a business that runs without me. So now I'm looking at scalability and how do I get myself out of it? But when we're talking about the trades, roofers, remodelers, like that stuff, these individuals have been taught that you work until you can't move anymore and then you retire, right? Yeah. So what's the learning curve there?
It really just kind of depends on who you're talking to be honest. I've met some highly business savvy individuals in that industry. And then I've also met some that are great people, but they just don't understand the fundamentals. And, you don't have to have a college degree or any type of educational background to start a business like that, which I don't think that ultimately matters that much, I'll be honest. But what's kind of happening is that a lot of people are good at certain skills. So they start a business, they get word of mouth traction, they do a good job, they grow a business, but they just never took the time to learn, or no one taught them what they should be doing to set themselves up for success, to actually turn a profit, not just make revenue. So the business that I was talking about, they did do expensive, jobs, expensive projects. The problem is that the management of the business was causing them to lose money. They would either cut their timelines too short in the proposal to where it took them quite a bit longer. And anytime you have a group of people actively working on something each and every day, that's money. Time is money. You are paying the longer something goes on. So they were losing money because their jobs were going over. They were misquoting things on the front end so that they actually ended up having to eat some of the costs. Like when the overages come in, I mean, some people will pass that along to the client, but you really can't do that if you're bad, basically. So that's really what was happening. It had nothing to do with the actual quality of work that they were doing. It had nothing to do with, them overspending. It had to do with poor in-the-job management that was eating up all of the margin that they may have had. So anybody that's doing that that thinks that marketing is going to solve their problem, number one red flag. Okay, you have to take a long, hard look at your own business before you can even identify what you need to grow. If I'm a business who wants to grow, but I'm making $2 million a year and I have zero profit, I don't need more revenue. I need more profit. So I'm going to do everything I can before I ever look into marketing on how can I better manage my own business internally? How can I pay myself first? Profit first mentality. And maybe it's hiring a financial consultant. Maybe it's hiring an operations consultant. Anybody that can help you get your shit together before you decide that marketing is what you need, because that is not the answer to every revenue or profit problem. And that's such a big issue that I see is everyone thinks that marketing is the only solution to growing. And it's not. It really should only be done once your delivery, once your fulfillment, once your operations are in order, so that when you actually do get leads coming in, number one, you've got salespeople who know how to close a lead, because it does not matter how many leads you get if nobody ever closes them. That's just the hard truth. I mean, there's nothing you can do about that. There will be people that throw money at you regardless of what is said or done to them, but it's a very small percentage. Very small percentage. So you can't rely on those people. You have to assume that there has to be a level of sales and just proper communication channels that are done with those leads. That's
a lot of the, let me pause you before you go. Cause you're like, I mean, you are like a freight train, and she got coffee delivered right before as the interview was going. And I was like, I hope it's decaf. This girl's ready.
Heck no.
So I have this analogy that I believe that a lot of people are treating marketing like it's Tinder.
Yeah.
Right. And it's like pretend like you're swiping on me and there's my profile and it's like, hey, my name's Mark. Do you want to go to bed? I was going to say fuck, but I will actually. It's
I think
like,
you already said it.
yeah, hey, my name's Mark. Do you want to fuck? No. Hey, my name's Mark. Do you want to fuck? And everyone's like just hoping that there's the no, like, and trust of marketing and building rapport is like gone. And like these people think that it's lead gen and just turn the leads on. And yeah. I can't tell you how many clients we've brought on and we've said, or we were in talks about bringing on, and we've said, we can't turn lead gen on for you. What do you mean? Like you can't handle it.
Yeah, you're not ready for it.
You're going to drop the ball on all of our leads and you're going to blame it on marketing, which is the results that you've had from other companies. We understand marketing. So we want to tell you that until you get the back end, what you're talking about, if you can't close these leads, if you can't nurture these leads and build relationships, and yes, sometimes it's going to take more than one text message. Like text messaging drives me nuts. Pick up a call. You paid for that person. They filled out the form. They want to talk to you.
It's very shocking, honestly. It's funny because Joel Kaplan, I did a podcast interview for my podcast with him yesterday. He's my coach. And we talked about so many of these same things, really about how local businesses can become better clients to see better results. And that's where it starts, is taking responsibility for your own results, because marketing is one part of the equation. It's not the whole picture. You have got to have these things in line before you get started. And hopefully you can find someone to work with that can guide you on that. But sadly, too many marketers right now, they don't really understand marketing as a whole. They are more of a tactician, if that. You know, they feel like they know how to do this one thing, but they don't know how to analyze someone's business. They don't know how to diagnose a breakdown in the chain or give somebody a real solution that's going to help them. So all they do is tell them that the solution to their problem is whatever it is that they can do. You know, I can do Facebook ads for you. I can build you a website. I can do SEO for you. None of those things may be even remotely close to what the business actually needs, but this business doesn't really know. That's why they're, you know, seeking help. So they're going to listen to that person, whether they're completely off base or not. Then when they don't see results in the form of ROI, whether or not they're getting leads is like beside the point, they do blame it on the marketer. It's partially the marketer's fault. Even if the leads are coming in, it's your fault for not being honest or for not understanding enough about marketing, which is what you're saying your business and your industry is, to really give somebody the right advice. So the fact that they did essentially waste money on this, that's on you. The marketer also has to take responsibility for that. So it is a two-way street. You have to be able to meet in the middle, but you'll meet in the middle very successfully if you can just point out the shortcomings that will prevent success from the beginning. Sales, follow-up, lack of profit. Those are kind of the three big ones that are going to kill somebody's ability to make money off of marketing. So here's the thing. If somebody still wants to pay you to do this for them after you've already pointed out the fact that they may not see success due to these reasons, that's fine. You can still take them on. You've done your due diligence. I'll tell you, get it on video, get it recorded so that it is public record that this was shared with them and that they went against your better judgment. However, if you do a good job of having a system, basically, that you're offering for your clients, not just lead gen. Offering lead gen is not really that effective anymore because these businesses don't understand the second part. You've got to give them the whole thing, train them on what they need to do. And sometimes they will still fail even if you do that, but at least you're able to track and hold them accountable. That was one of the biggest things we ever did internally that, has given us either great leverage or very clear data, is making sure that every single client utilizes the CRM that we set up for them, that all communication with leads is done through that one single channel. Every phone call, every text message, every email is tracked directly through the platform. So if you tell me you do something, it better be right, because I can go in and check. I can listen to your
how many leads did you close this month? Oh, what's this dead lead category? Oh, they didn't pick up. I was like, okay, I'm going to actually cold call all your leads and pretend I work for your company and we'll see what I generate. No. We're on it. Because I can sell.
Thing.
So
people respect what you inspect. If you are telling them, we're going to be looking at this, we're going to be secret shopping you, we're going to be listening to your phone calls, we're going to be checking to make sure that your conversations with these leads are actually responded to in a timely manner. Because if that's not done, which is not our responsibility in any shape or form, you're simply not living up to your part of the bargain. We're living up to ours. You have to care more than we do. It's your own business. I mean, if you don't care to close leads that you paid for, you don't deserve the lead. So, I mean, it's the truth. If you can really point out what's wrong on the front end, but also put systems in place that allow you to see, I won't say it's always lying. Sometimes it's lack of communication between people inside the business. Maybe one person says they're doing something or they've been entrusted to do something and they simply don't do it, but the owner never checks in on that. So people respect what you inspect, whether it's you as the marketing company or whether it's you as the business owner that is delegating something to someone on your team. If you're spending money on that, you better make sure that you're checking in on it, because people will never do exactly what they're supposed to do. I mean, anybody in business that has any team members at all or has ever managed people should understand that. People don't do exactly what they're supposed to do. The sooner you can just accept that and realize that it's your responsibility to check in on it, give them feedback, give them direction, or just tell them if you don't do it, you're fired next time, then things will never change. So you've got to be willing to look at these things on a very regular basis if you want to actually see what's going on, whether it's, with your clients' accounts or just with your own marketing.
So you dropped so many bombs in Purpose Chasers. If any of what she said was over your head, she dropped like one of the most crucial keys to succeeding in business. Like, start tracking out of the gate. So if you're launching a company, it is way more important to track numbers than it is to go focus on generating more leads. And I want to create a brand or a shirt that says "System Saves Lives," because it's been so beneficial for me. I hate systems, and we have a member on our team, Nathaniel, who nerds out on it. He's in high level and he's zapping this and zapping that, and the CRM's like dialed in and it's doing things that I don't even know it does. Allie, if you were to give a tip to the Purpose Chasers audience, if they were just starting out in business and contemplating marketing, maybe one of them is like, oh my God, I want to know more about this chick and what she's up to, because you are a boss.
Well, thank you.
Which is why I asked you to come on. What would the tip be for them?
So is this for someone who's thinking about starting a marketing company, or maybe like that bricks and mortar type of business?
No, I don't know of anyone in my audience that's thinking about starting a marketing company, but more bricks and mortar. And now with, COVID coming and everyone now is like urgent to go online. So they want to launch this product or that business. What would you say is the most important thing for them to focus on before or during the seeking marketing phase?
So there's really a couple things, honestly. So the first one is going to be, you have to have the right offer. If you don't have the right offer, nothing else will work for you. The offer is the core of what you're doing. And if you don't even know what an offer is yet, that's where you got to start, because an offer is not your business. An offer is not your product or service. It's the way that you package it. It's the way that you promote it. It's the reason why someone would be interested. So having the right offer means everything. And the funny part about it is that you could have all of these different parts and pieces already of the ideal offer that you need to have. They just need to come together in the right way. So for example, one of my students in my group coaching program, she is a bricks and mortar retail store that sells like bedding and candles and, linens and different things like that for your home. Obviously, she has been shut down for weeks now, almost 2 months. And she's in a higher foot traffic area. Like that's how she relies on new business, is through foot traffic. Well, what are you going to do when nobody's coming in? You haven't gotten online yet. So of course you need to get online. But if you just put all your products and services online, nobody will be there. Number one, nobody's really going to know about it if you don't have an audience. People don't just stumble upon websites very easily anymore. Like search has been a big priority for people for a very long time. And you may not ever get to page one for your business ever. So obviously paid traffic is that next option. But again, if you don't have anything that is relevant right now, that makes sense, that actually ties in some way with what people need, it's not going to matter. So for her, we put together self-care packages. So they're like $70 baskets of things like CBD oil and candles and lotions and fuzzy socks and exfoliation stuff and bubble bath, things that just make you feel good. Okay, well, we're in a time where people may or may not be depressed, potentially. They may be out of work. They may be low on money. They may just hate being inside their house. Whatever the reason is, there's definitely a level of anxiety and stress that is coming with this current situation. So these self-care baskets are designed to help you feel better, to give you the self-care that you need to, get out of this with a great fresh perspective, improve your mood. We're also marketing them as something you can buy for someone else as a gift that may be struggling or feeling low or not feeling well, whatever it is. So there's two sides of this. They're the exact same products she already sold. She didn't find new products to sell. We simply packaged them, gave them a new name, and promoted them with the right messaging that matters right now. Okay. She is not very tech savvy. Okay. She's not. Like, my program is actually, it's designed to help everyone get their tech set up. So advanced technical people and very, very beginning people are in that program. She is definitely, one of the more green in terms of anything technologically. She just posted the video that I had her do just on her organic Facebook profile. Okay. She's had so many orders, she hasn't been able to keep up. She's starting to run ads. Now we're doing Mother's Day baskets. Like, this person would never have just made money if she had taken her whole store and put it, made her website e-commerce. That wouldn't have happened. it had to start with the right offer. If people don't know why it matters, if they don't know why they need it, they're not going to buy it, especially when people may or may not be holding on to their money a little bit tighter than usual. So you have to know your audience. You have to create an offer, whatever it is, whatever business you're in, that resonates with people where they are right now. And that's the same advice I would give people during the COVID-19 or after. The offer is where it all starts, because knowing your offer, knowing your audience, those two things are the foundation of not only great marketing, but a great business. I mean, how do you give somebody something that they need if you don't know who you're serving? How do you, give this audience that maybe you want to serve a really great experience if, you have no idea what to offer them? So they really tie in directly to each other. The third thing really is that you have to get it out there to the right people in the right way, because again, people don't stumble upon things as they used to, at least where websites are concerned. Social media is where it's at. I mean, not just because I focus on social, we do a lot of other types of marketing too, but there's nothing else like it. You can develop a relationship with your audience. You can share a message in a much larger format than you will ever be able to do with a Google ad. I mean, if you like doing video, YouTube ads can be incredible. Like, you can share a story and you can really deepen that connection with your audience. So step one, right offer. Step two, right audience. Maybe those two can be interchanged, but maybe they're both step one. And then the next one is just to get it out there on the platforms where those people are existing with that messaging, with that offer. And of course, you're going to have some technical stuff set up to go along with it if you want things to work well. What exactly you need is, hard to determine without really looking at it, but it may be challenging for you.
And if you don't want to work nonstop, like that's where the tech comes in. So
it does.
You got to do the math on, like, is it worth paying for this product or service, this add-on to my business, if it's $100 a month or $200 a month or whatever the tech integration is it worth the amount of time that I have to spend to do whatever that thing is? And to me, it is. Allie, thank you so much. I love how I asked for one tip and you gave three, but you hit on,
They're all very important.
You hit on the mother lode. Like, just because you think your product is excellent, it could suck, right? If people don't buy because your product is excellent and you're excellent. They buy because of what they believe your product or service is going to do for them. Absolutely. Right? Especially in the time that we're in right now. And you may think your product is excellent, but if you can't actually convey how excellent it is, it's not going to sell. Yeah, Allie, sure. Where can the Purpose Chasers learn more about you?
Well, there's a couple spots. I do have a podcast. It's called Marketing Inc. I'd love for you guys to check it out. We do focus mainly on local businesses, so it's also great for local marketers. I have a Facebook group. You can find that really just on my personal Facebook profile. So anybody who wants to connect, Facebook, LinkedIn, Instagram, those are kind of where I hang out. I do have a YouTube channel if you want to, get some good tutorials and learn a thing or two. So I'm really kind of everywhere except for, TikTok. Can't really get into that just yet. Don't hit me up on Snapchat. But yeah, alliebloydmedia.com. Just go there. That's like the hub.
Well, all of her things will be in the show notes. And what I can tell you, Purpose Chasers, is her content is so valuable. And I almost went into it, but for the sake of ending this interview before 2 hours is up, I didn't. Maybe I will bring Allie back on. She is a stats nerd. Like, I'm so grateful for it, because you drop stats and I follow you. I'm like, okay. We need to make a pivot. Allie said we need to make it, because I know you're not just you're not blowing smoke or you're not pulling something out of your ass. I know you've done research on what you're putting out there. So thank you so much, Allie, for coming on.
Thanks for having me. It's been great.
All your things will be in the show notes. So Purpose Chasers, if you're looking to go further and learn more about marketing and offers and all the things that Allie discussed, go to the show notes and check that out. Thank you so much, Allie.
Thank you.
Thanks for tuning in to the Purpose Chasers podcast. If today's episode hit home, don't just listen, engage. Follow me on Spotify, drop a review, and join the conversation over on YouTube at The Purpose Chasers or on Instagram at Organic Nerd Word. This is more than a podcast, it's a movement. And if you're here, you're already part of it. Remember, no amount of darkness can keep someone who's been called. So keep chasing, keep building, and keep standing in your purpose. I'm Mark Crandall, signing off until next time. Let's get it.